Hello, everybody. Here we go again. It's another chance to humiliate myself in public coding with the advent of coding challenges. We survived day 1 and 2. Day 2 was nice because some of my friends from Club Twit, some of the pro coders showed up, and that was great. Let me, in fact, speaking of which, put the invite code in the advent of code in our Club Twit Discord. Okay, we're doing it again. Okay, I'm going to pull up the live chat in the Club Twit Discord. We can't. Hi, Ernesto. Good to see you. We can't stream this into the Discord. It's too complicated. I'm not sophisticated enough to know how to do that. So I'm just going to stream this on the usual spots. Hi, Dan. Good to see you. How's it going in the Twin Cities? Have you had your first snow yet? Nice to see you. Let me get my Emacs all set up. As I have mentioned the first 2 nights, I do this in a language as old as I am, which is Common Lisp. And it is actually a good language because I think it's a nice language for real-time coding, for live coding like this. I'm going to load my template. It makes it easy to work as well. Oh, I hear somebody joining me. I'll have to go check in just a second. But first, I want to get this set up because we're launching in just a few minutes. We're only a few minutes out. Here's my Emacs. I'm going to replace number with 03 globally. And there's one little typo that I want to fix down here. Day 03. Okay. We're going to start this on 2 December 24 at 0900. No? At 011. What is it? 2100. And we're going to finish it when we finish it, which may not be tonight. As you probably know, these get harder and harder and harder each night. The first 2 nights were pretty simple. I know at some point, hey, Paul's in here. Hi, Paul. How you doing? And Cyphase, I'm turning you on now. You guys will be doing your solution first. We're not yet to the... I'm not so far behind yet. Normally, I get pretty far behind pretty quickly. And at that point, they've already done theirs long ago, and they can help me. But this time, we're all doing it together.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Who's this, Paul?
Yep, that's me.
Hey, Paul. How you doing? Welcome back. I
I
cleaned
think it,
up some of my code from last night. One of the things I like to do after I do it is go on Reddit. There's a subreddit for Advent of Code, and look at other people using Common Lisp and go, in this case, do. So there's a very simple Common Lisp command called apply where you can apply a function to a list. And for the increasing values, all I had to do was apply greater than to the list, apply less than to the list, and I would have had a true false on that list, and that was a lot less convoluted than what I ended up doing. So I did change that. Just for people who are watching this for the first time, I'm working in Emacs. I'm going to turn off that really annoying minor mode that I use. I don't use it in public because it's so, but it does all my parentheses for me. It's easier for me when I'm showing you how stuff works not to have automated parentheses. So what I always do is I load in my libraries. These are my utility libraries. I have a testing framework called 5am. Iterate is a for loop that's better than the Common Lisp loop, which was a nasty compromise made in the 80s. PPCRE is Perl compatible regular expressions, so it's my regular expression tool. Trivia is for pattern matching. Serapium is just some random utilities, and then there's some string utilities. So I don't use them every day, but I always have them loaded in case I need them. The package today will be day 03, and I am going to be in that package. So what I do now is I mark this, copy it, I go over here into my REPL because I want to be working in the package in the REPL. So I am now in day 3. So everything I do from here on in is saved to the Lisp image for day 3, this day 03 image. And that's one of the things that's cool. I could actually save this Lisp image, kind of like Smalltalk. I could save the image and go back, and all of the stuff that I'd compiled or added, I would have. I do have one global here, which is the name of the data file. I always put it in the same place. And as soon as we begin, then one of the first things I'll do is download that data file. How you feeling today, Paul? You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be another day that's only going to be slightly harder than yesterday.
God, I hope you're right. I really hope you're right.
I think you should maybe be concerned for about Thursday.
Yes.
That's my guess.
That's when we're going to do our recap. Thursday, December 5th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Paul and I and Darren Oakey and Cyphase and whoever else wants to join us, Galia, the people who are in our club, the Twit Club, who are the solvers are in there. Actually, we should check as long as we're on the Advent of Code. We have a few minutes before the beginning of the day. It all starts at midnight Eastern, which is just 9 minutes away. I'm going to quickly run over to the Advent of Code site and see how our leaderboard is doing. So this is the leaderboard for everybody who's participating, but we also have a private leaderboard. This John Arnold started. John is also doing this, but because he's in the UK, he doesn't do it until tomorrow morning.
Like 4 a.m. or something there.
Yeah,
5 a.m.
it's 5 a.m. there. Look at this, though. We're getting a good group of people. A total of 23 people, or maybe almost 23 people, 21 people have done both stars first 2 days. So that's really good. Here's Paul, placeholder. You have some very good names. He is also known as Chocolate Milk Mini Sip. I'm not going to ask him why. Cyphase is still on top. Darren Oakey, Eric Vinendahl, who hasn't joined us at this point. Leo Laporte is me, your humble host. I'm close, I'm in the hunt. But isn't that great? All of these people are on our private leaderboard. All Twit listeners and viewers and so forth. So it's great. You see, we're starting to see the beginning of the graphic. Every year they have a different cartoon. This is obviously a Christmas tree right here. I'll go back. Last year's was really weird. I'll show you last year's. I think this was falling sand, and there was all sorts of weird. There was some lava. It was a very strange story. This year is shaping up to be a little more normal. Let's go back and look at 2022. Okay, that was also. They're all a little weird.
That one got more color on it the more you complete.
Yeah, you see, I only got through day 15, so I didn't get these last few days here. But we're working our way down now. 25 days, it's an Advent calendar, the first 25 days of December. There are 2 parts for each day. Each part has a star, so there's a total of 50 possible stars. So far, we have 4 stars, and we're waiting to get our 5th and 6th. Paul's doing it in Java. Darren does it in Python. I am doing it in Common Lisp, as I mentioned. And the way Paul, I suspect you kind of work the same way. Do you? You open it up, you look at the text, you download or save somehow the input file, take a look at it to get an idea of what we're working with, and then load the example up. Do you do a test with the example?
Yeah. It's the first thing I do is I actually copy the example into. So I have. I start off with 3 files that are in my template. One is kind of just the main program. All it does is I put in there my data from I normally copy down the entire input and just paste it in as one big long string and split it on new lines. So I have an array, basically a huge array in some cases. And then I do the same thing in the test case for the test data, and then I copy in the expected answer, and then I run it immediately, just make sure that I didn't screw up anything, and then it fails immediately because I don't have any code. And then I go write some code to make the test case come true, and then when that works, then I go run the main data.
That's pretty much how you're supposed to do it, and how I always try to do it. You write the tests first.
Right. Theoretically, in test-driven development, they say you should never write a line of code that doesn't satisfy a test.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we were
That's
talking
not
last night
actually
about
how I
test
work, but
coverage. Yeah. It's
yeah.
a lot. I mean, people don't, writing tests is a lot of extra work, but it's a sensible plan. And you said, of course, you do much more coverage in when you're doing real world coding, as you should. Here, I just use the test to make sure that my functions work as I expect them to. And because I have the REPL, I can kind of test them in the REPL. But I do like the idea of writing your tests and then going from there. So I think that's what I was taught in how to design programs, and I think that's the right way to do it. Dan Hendricks, I'm so glad you're watching. I'm glad you still exist. Longtime chat mod for us on Twit. Retired. It's about 10 years ago, right, Dan? It's been a while, and just living his. Yeah, Dan Hendricks is in the chat. Lisa says hi. Thank you, Andrew Brightwell, and thank you for your super chat. That's fantastic. This is the live stream where I'm going to look bad, I think, but we'll see.
I dropped the completed picture for last year. If you want to see it, it's in the Discord, Leah.
Oh, yeah, let me
send you a link here in the private chat.
Okay, you put it in the 2024. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. Let's see. In order to show that, I am going to have to go to Discord. I wonder if I can do that here. This slows me down a little bit because I'm trying to do. Yeah, there's Discord. Oh, but it's not showing up. That's interesting. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. So maybe I can do it. I might be able to do it from. Hi there, everybody. You know what? I should do this full screen because this is what they end up using in the YouTube thumbnail. I realized YouTube prefers the full screen, so I'm going to give you a full screen. And now we got the thumbnail. Okay. Let me go to the Discord window if I can see it. Yeah, I can. Okay. And there is the, as you said, the finished one. There's the flames and all of that. I stopped at 22, so I never saw
that white
23,
stuff
4, and
is
5.
Waterfall or something. It animates, and
Yeah.
of course the fire animates. And there's snow in the bottom that's animating too, I think.
It was fun. It was quite a lot of fun. And I know you're mad at me that I didn't finish it, but
I'm not mad. I just thought you would get more out of it if you got there. I was willing to help you get there.
I know, that was so kind. And maybe I will. Or maybe this will be the year that I finish all of them. I've never gotten past 22. That was the farthest I've ever gotten. So, hello,
Okay,
Loquacious.
I'm going to mute myself now so that I can get ready to do my thing.
We're getting ready.
I'll be back as soon as possible.
Minute away. All right. Thank you, Paul. Paul will solve his in minutes. I've took an hour and 10 minutes the first day, an hour 40 minutes or something the second day. Of course, I'm explaining as I'm going. I'm switching and so forth. Good. I'm glad you're here, Crafty Shrew. It's nice to have you. We don't use hate here in the beautiful confines of the twit. Hello, Loquacious One. All right, counting down. I've got my Emacs all set up. It's ready to go. I am going to go over to my Advent of Code browser tab. You can watch with me as we count down the last minute for the day 3 assignment. So we're going to get a word problem, usually fairly convoluted, involving Christmas. We've got a historian right now. It's a very weird story. It's a very strange story, and it all kind of percolates through. But I have to say, the guy who does this, Eric Wastel, is really impressive, and I think puts together the best coding challenges. There's many out there, but the best I've ever used. Now, last night, there was a DDoS attack. When we got to 0, we got a 503 gateway error. And Eric posted on Reddit on the Advent of Code subreddit that it was in fact a DDoS, resolved within 30 seconds. So let's see if the evildoer is out there again. We're almost there. 4, 3, 2, 1. Can we load the code? Yes, we can. And day 3 is mullet over. Will there be a mullet? We'll see. Our computers are having issues, so I have no idea if we have any chief historians in stock. You're welcome to check the warehouse, though, says the mildly flustered shopkeeper at the North Pole Toboggan Rental Shop. That's a link, but I am not going to click that link. All right. It brought us back to day 2 of 2020, so I guess it's a callback. The historians head out to take a look. The shopkeeper turns to you. Any chance you can see why our computers are having issues again? You got the man. I'm here. Yeehaw. The computer appears to be trying to run a program, but its memory, your puzzle input, is corrupted. How often have we had corrupted data in the many years of the advent of code? I've been doing this since 2015. Data is often corrupted. All of the instructions have been jumbled up. Well, what do you know? Seems like the goal of the program is just to multiply some numbers. Does that with instructions. Oh, boy. Yes, we are getting a little bit harder today. Like mul, parenthesis xy, where x and y are each 1 to 3 digit numbers. For instance, mul 44 to 46 multiplies 44 to 46, get a result of 2024. Similarly, mul 1, 2, 3, comma 4 multiplies. Blah, blah, blah. However, because the program memories has been corrupted, there are many invalid characters that should be ignored, even if they look like part of a mul instruction. Sequences like mul 4 asterisk, mul 6, 9 with a 9 and a bang, or question mark 1234, or mul, notice spaces even, do nothing. So this is our example here. So I'm going to right now paste this into my Emacs. I will show you what that looks like. This is where I always start, which is with the example. Whoops, I turned off my camera. Oh, and I also want to change the main title. Oh, hello. Not that. That's too much of me. There we go. I'm going to show you my Emacs because I'm going to paste in this example. So this is a constant. I always do this, def parameter. And, oops, auto completes here. And the parameter is going to be example. I like to kind of do the same thing each time so I don't have to remember anything. And the example is this, which I'm going to put in quotes. I'm going to make a string because that's how I'm going to probably get it. So there's an example string. Let's go back to the advent of code text here. That's my example string. And actually, you know what? As long as I'm on Emacs, I'll finish this part, which is then I always write a test. And we were talking about this before we started with Paul. 5A is the nickname for my test framework, 5AM. This is a test, and it's going to be for the function that solves day 03-1. And this test, I think, is going to have a number, right? I didn't look, but I'll say is equal to, and then it'll be day 03-1 with the, what am I going to give it? I guess it's going to be a string. Let's see. I'll call this, what should I call it? Multiplying? Multiples? Mult. We'll just call it mult. And that, let's see what that answer is supposed to be. So we'll go back to the advent of code here. Sorry, I hid myself. And let's make sure you're seeing that. You're not. Are you seeing that? Yes, you are. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the advent of code. Only the 4 highlighted sections. Ignore the X. Look for mul. Mul. Okay, so we're going to ignore. This is interesting. So I don't correct it. I just am looking for stuff that matches exactly this. Actually, this is not too hard because that's a regular expression. All right. Only the 4 highlighted sections are real mul instructions. Adding up the result produces 161. So that would be the answer. Let's go back to Emacs. That would be the answer to the test 161. So I'll put that in here. So I put that in almost as a reminder, and I'm going to put a stub in for the final function, which is again day underscore 03-1, and it is going to be provided with a mult, and that mult is going to produce a result, but for right now it's a dummy result. I'll compile that, and then when after I compile that, I compile this, and you can see the test is now failed, which one would expect because 0 does not equal 161. Actually, it's because the variable mult is unbound, but we'll worry about that later. All right, now let's go back to the advent of code because there's one more thing I need, and then that is the puzzle input. So I'm going to save that into a text file. I always do it the same way. I save it as input text in the folder that holds the code. And now we're done. I guess I'll paste a little bit of the instructions. What do you get if you add up the results of the multiplications? And the key is the multiplications are only good if they match this. This is actually a very simple regex, and it won't take too long if I can remember my syntax. Let's go back to Emacs. I'm going to paste that in. I don't need this. Okay. So really it's instructions. So this is my kind of synopsis. Later, after I solve it all, I usually write up some notes, so I'll put room there for my notes. And I'm just going to say here, looks like a regular expression for mul, actually there's no parenthesis, mul, parenthesis, digit, comma, digit, end parenthesis. That's what the regular expression is going to have to match. Okay, so, and this is why I take the example, because I'm going to write some code and I'm going to first run it across the example. If I don't get the answer 161, then I'm not doing it right. So let's put, let's just call this prog. Okay, and we'll call this prog. Oh, actually, this one's example, right? Because I'm going to run it against the example. All right, that's why it was giving me an error. Let's see here. It says, yeah, it didn't work because unbound variable example. Oh, I haven't compiled this yet. Now let's do this. This is why you run the tests. Okay, so the failure was it evaluated 0 because that's what I provided the stub instead of the real answer 161. So now the first thing I'm going to do is define another parameter, which is going to be the regular expression for the correct instruction. Now, for this, I have to remember, and I probably should have looked this up earlier, because almost always we end up getting regular expressions. But let me show you how I do this with my little computer friend. Because I have a handy little Lisper that is an AI that I created using ChatGPT that knows Lisp. And I'm going to go there right now, and I'm going to say, how do I define a regex in CLCCPRE for, this is cheating, actually, but I'm going to do it anyway. No, not typo, but the Chat GPT is smart enough to ignore my typos. It's not an e-regex, it's just a regex. I think I do number px. First you create the scanner, and this is the key thing. All right, so here we go. That's the code I want. Let's go back to Emacs. So that's what this is a scanner. And the scanner is going to use the syntax. So it is mul, right? It's the literal mul followed by an unknown number of digits. So it's mul and then //d, and then comma is a literal //d. I'm doing this from memory. And then are there parentheses? Yes, there are. So let me get the parentheses too. And parentheses need to be escaped because they have a special meaning in regular expressions. They're a grouping. And I may actually end up using some parentheses, but let's just see if I'm getting what I think I'm getting. Compile that. That seems okay. Oh, I wish I had studied up on my regular expressions before tonight because it's been a year since I've used these. Oh, let's see. I'm going to scan. Let's do that. I'm going to do, I use RE as my shortcut. RE scan. And I'm going to provide it with the regex, which is inst. And then let's say here is something called mul 2, 4 or 3, and see if it finds it. Nope, doesn't find it. So what am I doing wrong? Oh, this is where it gets boring. Did I do something wrong here? Okay. I said my scanner was going to be mul, then there's a parenthesis, then there's one or more digits, then there's a comma. Actually, I don't escape the comma, do I? I think that's maybe what I did wrong. And then let's try this again, see if I find it. Nope. I really want to find mul \parenthesis one or more digits, followed by a comma, followed by one or more digits, followed by a parenthesis. And actually, I am going to group these because what I really want is this, which is the first digit. So I parenthesize that, and this, which is the second digit. Notice without putting a slash behind it, I'm not escaping it. So it has that grouping command. So the slash means it's a literal parenthesis. And then I don't think scan is the right thing. Let me go to my documentation for the regular expression parser. I'm trying to remember. Here, let's go to the Common Lisp cookbook. This is one of the things that I love about Common Lisp because it is, where did I put that? There it is. It is so old. It's been around so long. There are a lot of resources. So I wanted to create the scanner. Okay, I did do that. And I actually made it a global. Here it's a local. And then I scan that. Okay, but there is, I want to, all matches as strings is what I want. I want all matches as strings. Let's do that again. Let me go back to Emacs real quickly. Because what I really want this scan to return is the actual numbers, right? All matches as strings. Now that's my regular expression. Oops. Let's bring up this parenthesis. It's kind of out there floating in space. Is that right? Okay. That's still not working. All matches as strings. Let me just shorten this. I don't really need the... Just want that. So what I'm trying to get is that this should return 2 and 3. And it's not. So something about the scanner, by the way, I don't have to write CC, CL, CCEPRE. I can just do create scanner. Because up above, as you can see, I've used RE as a nickname, a local nickname for that library. So this create scanner is coming to me from a regex library called the Perl compatible regular expressions, CL-PPCRE. So this is a shortcut for that. It's saying, okay, that way I don't have to import all of the commands in it. I just say, call in that library called create scanner. You're done already? You figured it out. It's very simple. It's just a regular expression. Yep. Mostly what I'm fudging around with is I can't remember my regular expression syntax here. But I think it's pretty simple. Well, and the problem is it's list specific. It's pretty simple because it's only good. It's only good if you actually have mul parenthesis number comma number parenthesis, nothing extraneous. And so that means it's really fairly simple. If I go back to the advent of code, Paul Holder has joined me because he's already finished part 1 and 2.
Yep.
Wow. Wow, I'm impressed.
You need to escape your last bracket, I think, on your
maybe, yeah. But I am I correct? I'm looking at where he's highlighted it. It doesn't matter what's before or after. It does matter what's inside the mul number. Right. But nothing else matters. So that's why these are the ones that count. Here's one that counts. Let's see if I'm on the right screen here. Let's go back to the advent of code.
Yeah, while you're showing us the advent of code screen. Yep.
Yeah. So that's why that's highlighted. This has a square bracket, so that's no good. We can ignore the do not and all that stuff. We're just trying to go through this string and get the ones that actually fit out. And that's pretty simple because a regular expression will only match exactly that if you've written the regular expression correctly. So I'm going to go back to my Emacs. I kick myself, Paul, because of course there was going to be regex. And I should have
yourself a test case that just outputs what it matches.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing over here. You see, all matches as strings, and it should. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. That's Control X minus, right? Oops, that's bigger. Yeah, so we can see it. So all matches as strings is the function I want to use. This is the regular expression. So I'm creating a scanner using this. So mul is a literal. I've escaped the first parenthesis because that's not a command, but this is a grouping, parenthesis of //d plus. That's one or more digits. This comma is a literal. I don't have to escape that, right? I don't think comma has to be escaped.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and then there is another grouping, which is the next / digit plus. And then...
Why have you got a backslash? And
right there, huh? Yes.
No, you want your...
Oh, no, that's the grouping. No, this is the grouping. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. There you go. Well, let's try this again. It still says it's not finding it. So it's probably a Lisp-specific issue. I'm going to go back to, real quickly, the documentation for this library.
So another thing you can do with characters when you want to match a specific character is put them inside of square brackets. That's a regular expression where you can list any set of characters, like A, C, and F or whatever.
Right.
So that takes away their special meaning. You don't have to put the backslash on them then.
Right. So you're saying if I put square bracket, paren, square bracket,
Right. That's what
yeah.
I did. I can send you
I
my
just I
project.
just escape it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this should be for the most part. You know what I often do? In fact, let me do this because it's kind of fun. Regex 101. There's a really nice tool. I'll show you here to build regular
Oh yeah.
expressions.
Yeah. I've used that. That's great.
Yeah, it's really handy because I can now put in here. Let's make it a little bit bigger so y'all can see it. I can put in here. This is going to be the test string mul 1 comma 2 2. Now what I want to do is say, well, how do I get that? Well, I put mul in, and that's correct. That's selecting it. Backslash paren, but I do want to have a paren here. Backslash d plus. Oops, I put a return d plus. That is selecting the whole thing right now. Oh, but no, group 1 is a 1. That's correct. And then a comma. I'm going to group this again, backslash d. Oh, I put 1 in d plus in the Lisp. I have to double. It's a pain in the ass, but I have to double it. Okay, and that's also a group. So I want the group, but then I want this
Yeah. That should
and
be
group
it.
1 and 2, and that's correct. Okay. And you can see over here that I'm getting what I want. The full match is, of course, the whole thing. But group 1, which is in the parenthesis, is the number 1. And if I type, this is mul paren 3 comma 4, I should then get 3 4, and I do. So that's doing the right thing. So this is correct. Let me copy it. And
So you can, one thing you can do with that thing is you can tell it which flavor of regex you're using. So I don't know if there's a list
oh,
flavor or not.
I wonder. Okay, where's the flavor part? Flava Flav.
I don't know, let me go
That's a
look.
good
I just gotta go
thing.
look.
Oh, there it is. I see. Flava. No, of course it doesn't, but I am using Perl compatible. Yeah.
It
It
may not
doesn't.
make any difference. I just
It
wanted-
doesn't. It doesn't. That's a nice handy feature. Yeah. Let me go back to Emacs though, because we have validated that I did accidentally come up with the right regex. So it's something else is going on that I'm not. I'm not sure. Create the scanner. So let's just see real quick. Oh, actually, I could just paste it in. What I just did. Oh, actually, that was the one I just did. Oh well, that's all right. Mul. Okay, that's escaping the first parenthesis, but this is now grouping that first digit. Commas unescaped.
So do you need to, you either need to escape all backslashes or not all backslashes. Maybe escape your other two backslashes.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Let's see. That's interesting. Yes, except the grouping isn't. It did match, but it matched the whole thing.
Well, that's what you told it to output, isn't it?
No, what I wanted to do, and that's why I did the grouping. It's supposed to match the groups as strings, I believe. Let me go back and look at the. If I all matches as strings. Oh, actually, I think there's a way to pull numbers out of this. Or should I do scan to strings? Yeah, maybe it's scan to strings. Let me try this. I should, like I said, I should have studied up. Studying in real time. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So that's doing exactly what I wanted. All right. So scan to strings is, you see, returning two results. The first result is the full match. The second result is a vector with the two digits. And that's exactly what we want. So the scanner is correct now. What happens if I do, well, this is interesting, just do the whole example? What do I get? No, it doesn't like that. Oh, I didn't put the last parenthesis, last earmuff on. Gotta have your full earmuffs. No, it just finds the first one. I want to find them all. So it's probably scan all the strings. Let me just check real quickly on the. Scan to strings. Yeah, I want all of them. So that's why I thought I would use all matches as strings. Let's try that. There's way too many choices here. All matches as strings. Yeah, look at that. Except that I am not separating out the groups, but I am separating. I now have the four right things. I guess I could take that. I could just take that and make, because that's now a list of the correct matches. So, are you seeing my Emacs? Is that?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I could define a function that would take the input and turn it into the correct multiplications. That would be pretty easy. So,
Well, you want to be able to get the digits out of there. Do you? I mean,
yeah, there is probably, if I could remember it, because you see, I did groupings.
yeah.
So the groupings should return it. I can't. Let me go back to the docs for this regular expression tool that I'm using. So I did create the scanner. Okay. And the reason I create the scanner ahead of time is if you're doing multiple scans, which I will be, I suspect, you don't want to have to recreate the regex each time. So it saves the regex in a tokenized form that's more efficient. So that's why I created that as a global regex. All
So
matches
Java
as
works too,
strings.
actually.
Is it? Yeah, tokenized. It makes sense.
Well,
Really, I
that's
think regex libraries are really probably
all
all
the same.
the
Yeah.
same. They're all derivatives of one another.
It's
Ooh,
pattern for Java. It's pattern.compile, and then it's you take that pattern and apply
right,
a matcher with a string to it.
right. All matches as strings.
Can you? Is there a way to iterate so that it keeps finding each match one after the other until there are no more? That's what I did in Java, but
Normally, what it will do is return to me a list of the digits.
I see.
How do I match all expressions in a string? All occurrences. I am now.
Well, without giving away anything about part two, you're going to have to extend the regular expression for part two. So don't get
Don't
too
get too
clever.
tied into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm now, and I'll switch over to it so you know I'm not cheating. Going to my Chat GPT Lisp expert, and I've asked it.
J Dog's comment, that's cute.
What did he say? He said that's cute.
No, he
Ah,
said, I think
see.
you forgot 17 left parentheses.
Yeah. No, I know it. Everybody says that, but you don't. After a while, you don't even see the
Yeah,
parenthesis.
I'm getting used to watching it now. So
Yeah,
you're
and the
slowly corrupting me.
a good editor will, do. In fact, I've turned off the feature that actually provides the closing parens, closing quotes, all that stuff,
Right.
because it's hard for me to show you, modify the code. But honestly, you can do it without much effort.
Right.
So,
My IDE adds the open and close curly braces. So if I type in if and press enter, it'll put braces underneath of it for me.
right. It might be I have to do a bind.
I don't know. Do you have Cyphase muted, or is his mic still not working? I see he typed
Oh,
in the private chat. He said Darren finished first on both parts today. So yay,
as
Darren.
usual. Oh, Cyphase, I am now going to mute your desktop and unmute your laptop. Are you there now? This is what Cyphase did last time he joined. on a variety of
Oh,
tools.
he says 1 second.
Okay, now I'm back to my little AI buddy. Okay, so here's a group. Okay. Capturing multiple groups, all matches as strings, which is what I'm doing. This will output a list of matches. Each group can spy one entry. I feel like I'm doing the right thing. This is often what happens to me. I'm going, I know this is right. And then for some reason, it's not. The computer's never wrong. There we go. Hi, Cyphase.
Yeah. I think you can figure out mic issues. So.
Oh, you're sounding terrible. You're sounding so
Very, very distorted.
distorted. Yeah. Turn their mic down a little bit. Let's see. Recreate scan. Okay, create scanner. So the scanner is correct, I believe. And all matches as strings did in fact, but what I want is the groups, not the.
Or is there a way to just get the groups and not?
That's
bring
what's
anything else
puzzling
along?
me. I don't know why I'm getting the whole thing and not just the groups. I think I have to do a multiple bind to do that. I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to take this because that is a useful thing. And now
you could pass it into another regex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I can easily get the digits out of that. In fact, I'll show you. It's very easy just to extract the digits out of that. And it might be useful in part 2 to have a little function that does that. So I'm going to define a function here that will be extract proper commands. And it's going to be from a string. And it is very simple. It's going to return a list of all matches as strings, and it's going to use that precompiled regex inst, which is not a good name. I'll probably go back and rename that, from string. So that's going to produce what I think what I want. So let's just try that. Extract proper commands from example should give me what I got earlier. Yeah. So now I have a list. So this is given a string with some proper commands and some corrupt return a list of all the proper command strings. So that's what I'm going to get out of this is a list, which is fine because I can then go through the list easily. So that's good. That's correct. So now I want to, what I will do with this is it's very simple. Fun execute command, and that's going to be in a simple string. And what it's going to do first is it's going to remove the digits from the string, and it's going to turn them, they're going to be strings, and turn them into, using parse integer, turn them into, so that's a map command.
So it took Darren 9 minutes and 24 seconds.
God, you guys are so fast.
13 minutes and 22 seconds, and I was 15 minutes and 46 seconds.
Good job. It's not that hard. It's as you can see, the only thing I'm struggling with is getting the regular expression stuff to work. And this is kind of what he usually does in the first few, which are kind of like warm-ups. They're not brain teasers in the problem set themselves. They're just kind of to remind you, oh yeah, that's what I do. That's the syntax. Oh yeah, I remember that. So I am going to do a map car, which will parse the integers. And it's going to multiply them. So first multiply, and then multiply map. Oh, I have to do an apply, I think. Apply, multiply, 2 because it's a list. Map car. Parse integer, and it's going to be parsing the integer on the list I get by taking this string and re all matches as strings, and it's going to be the number command, which is quote / d plus / and it's going to take the string. So it's going to take all of the numbers out of the string and return that as a list. So I can just show you here, re all matches as strings from the string. Oh, let's do the first, the / d plus from the string mul 2, 4 should return a list 2, 4. It does. Now that list, which is going to come back from this, I'm going to parse it. I'm going to go through each one, turn each one into an integer, and then I'm going to apply multiply to them. I think that's the execute command. Let's try it on here. Execute command, and the command is mul 2, 4. I should get the answer 8. And I did. So that's good. So now we have a way of doing each of these little individual ones, which I got back from extract proper commands. So I think I can now write the final function, which is...
Sum all those.
Oh, yeah, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to...
Sum each.
What do you get if you add up all the results? Okay, so that's easy. So this is an iter for... Actually, prog is a long string, right?
Yep.
So really what I want to do is...
Have you looked at your actual input yet? Because in my case, it was multiple lines.
Yeah,
So
that's what
really,
I figured.
really long lines. But
I haven't actually looked at it, so let me look at it real quickly. Data file. Oops. UIOP read, that's the utility I use to read the file into lines of data file. I wonder if it's a long string. It is a long string. So these are so there's only 5 of them, but they're all really long.
yeah,
Okay.
that matches with my experience.
Okay. So there's only 5 of them, but they're really long. So I am going to get a list of strings. So, okay, so that's interesting. So I'm going to get prog will be a list of strings. So let's do this. Given a list of strings containing proper and improper commands, return the sum of the proper multiplications in all the strings. Right? So so this is an iter, or it could be do list, but I'll do an iter for p in progs. So each one of those is a string. I'm going to summing, which means as I go through this, I'm going to sum up the results. And each of these will be apply. Oh, let's see. Execute command does the multiplication. So I'm going to first extract proper commands from string. And I'm going to, okay, so I'm going to execute, and this is why I don't use my parenthesis tool, because I'm now going to compose and I have to go back, and all those extra things would be annoying. So
will your execute command take multiple commands? It takes just one.
Takes one. So I'm going to extract the commands, which is going to give me a list. Execute takes...
I'm just wondering how you're going to break them apart or iterate over those to pass.
I don't have to. So what I'm going to do when I apply extract proper commands to the first line here, I will get a list of muls, a whole bunch of muls.
Right.
Then I pass that list of muls. So this is actually a list of strings, right? No, it's not. It's a single string.
Yeah.
So I do have to. You're right. I do have to do
Have to iterate over the
iterate.
list
Maybe I'll
members.
do one more. And that's going to be a list of command strings. So I am going to
I'm gonna go
iter.
grab a drink. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, I'll be here a while. Okay, so I'm going to list a command L for L in LOS. I am going to okay, I have to think about this. So this is going to take all the commands out of that. I am then going to have a list of commands. So for everything in that list of commands, I need to summing the I think that's right. So let's just see. So if I have, let's go back here. And let's just look at the first command. That's the first command. If I take that first command and I execute, I think I've lost the thread. What I'm doing here. Yeah. Okay, so this first string, one single string here, has a bunch of commands in it. If I run extract proper commands on it, I will get, oh, that's what I need to do first. So let's do this. So I want to do not execute commands. I want to extract proper commands from there. Good. There's all the there's all the correct multiply commands from the first. That's the first line of my input. Okay. Whoops.
I didn't usually when I'm doing this, I throw in something like statistics to count things like that. I didn't do that this time, so I don't
Lisp
actually know how
this
many
does
there are.
this for me. It's there's 119 proper commands in that. That's just the first line. So yeah, it's always fun to know. So these are all the proper commands in the first line. So if I extract proper commands from P, I'm going to get this list. Then what I want to do is go through for everything in that list. Yeah, this should be plural. For everything in that list, I want to sum. I think that'll do it. Let's see. Is that right? Oh, I haven't. I'm missing a paren. Where'd you go? See, people get scared by the parens, but it actually, if you ignore the parens, it all kind of reads. The parens are just there to to help the language understand what
It reminds me of the days of an HP calculator where, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. And it's in a prefix rather notation.
Yeah.
So, so extract proper commands on the first line gets all the commands. Then I execute the commands. And what that means is I'm going to go through that list and I'm going to execute each command in the list, which is like multiply 662 by 950. So to do that, I'm getting the digits, I'm parsing them, and I'm multiplying them. And that's correct. So let me just try this here, just to make sure. This is where I really should be writing tests, but I'm being lazy right now. Execute command on the string mul 662, comma 950 should give me the result of that multiplication. And it did. So that's good. So for each of those, I'm getting the result. I'm summing it. So that's good. So that gives me this. That is actually giving me the sum of all the multiplications in line 1. That's what I want. So let's try that just to see. On line 1, execute commands. On line 1. Oh, it didn't like that. Undefined. Oh, it's just a typo. Extract is mistyped. Extract. Is it? Undefined function, extract commands. Oh, it's execute.
So you, oh, right, yeah.
So I'm now, oh, didn't like that. The value is not a type list. Oh, I haven't done the processing yet. Got to do the processing. What am I thinking? So execute commands, I thought did that, but it doesn't. Execute commands wants me to first extract, okay, here we go. Extract proper commands from that first line and then execute them. Okay. And there is the number. So that's correct. Okay, so that is how I do each line. And so down here we're going for all the lines in the program. First thing I do is extract proper commands from that line. And then I execute commands, and then I sum it. I think that's correct. Let's try it. Okay, I'm not processing it fully yet. So I read the line. I extract the proper commands from the line. That's this. And then execute commands.
My number was like 188 million, by the way.
Yeah, it looks like what I'm going to get, because you can see I got 31,748,124 from the first line, and there are 5 lines. So I'm in the ballpark. So what am I doing wrong here? For P and progs, so I'm giving it a list of. Let me see. What do I get if I just read the data file? No. I go far enough back. Okay, I get a string. So I'm getting 5 strings, right? All right. So for P in progs, and progs is a string, first thing is execute the proper commands from that, and then execute all the commands in there.
So you got execute oh, I see.
So execute commands runs all execute command on all the lines or all the items in the list, and the list is a list of proper mul commands. So basically what happens is I first extract the proper the only proper mul commands from the line, and then I execute commands, which is to go through each of the proper commands and execute it, and then sum it.
Seems reasonable.
This all looks right. You know, it might be because there's only one line in the example. Is that possible? Did I do something wrong here?
I'll make a new example.
Make an example with 2 lines.
Yeah.
I could do that. But instead what I'm going to do is just run this. Extract commands from extract proper command. No, extract commands. I think I'm going to have to do better names. This is a little confusing. From extract proper commands from example. Should give 161, and it doesn't because I have a typo. All right. Earmuff. Okay, it doesn't like that. Oh, another typo. Hate it when I do that. It's not extract commands, it's execute commands. So first I extract, then I execute. See, it was good names. Yes, 161. So I think it's just because it's one line. So I'm going to act with confidence and say I've got it.
Famous last words.
And this is the number 100. It's 173,419,328. That's in the ballpark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just, I'm going to change over to the Advent of Code screen. And
There was something that may not be important, but it was mentioned in the puzzle.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's just see. If I get an error, if it's not right, then I'm going to listen to you, Cyphase. But until then, I'm going to ignore you. That's the right answer. So tell me now, what was it that I missed?
It mentions that the numbers are 1 to 3 digits.
Yes, and
You
I just assume they're an arbitrary
Yeah,
length.
you're right.
I don't pay any attention to the length of the numbers. That's
could-
why it's D plus, because that means it's
Right.
however many.
You can limit that in some versions of
Oh
regular
yeah, I could
expression
do
parsers.
I could do braces, number braces.
Right.
But I just assuming that it is a regular thing, which is mul parenthesis a number of any arbitrary length, comma, number another, and that's what I'm saying here in the regular.
Feels like he put that in as a red herring, unless some
Oh,
suckers are going to get some bad input, and we didn't.
Oh no, Mr. Bill.
It happens sometimes, like not.
Oh, it does, and that's why you pay attention to that.
We'll have an input that does have
Right.
4 digits or something. Yeah.
So let me just go back to the chat room and see if. The reason I don't like Python is because white space should never be used as syntax.
Yeah, I don't
That's
like that either.
That's exactly what I don't like about Python. The real reason I don't use Python is because I was very proficient in Python 2. And then along came Python 3, and I said, screw you. I'm going to find a language that will never change. And that's Common Lisp. It hasn't changed in 40
It
years.
wasn't that different. Everyone knows about Python 3. Oh my God, Python 3. What are they doing?
No, I could have learned it. Although learning Python for Python 2 was this thick. Learning Python for Python 3 was this thick. And that was another thing.
They added
that
a lot
scared
more
me off.
capability.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
don't
too
think
much.
I don't think they broke that much. They just added a lot.
Yeah.
The biggest
that's
change,
fine.
The biggest change that screwed up a lot of people was the print command became a print function, and that was the big one.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I mean, I can't complain about that because Lisp's print command format is a language in its own right. It's ridiculous. So I can't really complain about that. All right, everybody, we did part 1. I will go back and clean that up a little bit, but it wasn't that difficult. It was just a question of me remembering the syntax for my regular expressions, and I will before tomorrow.
Get ready to see how much more you remember.
Oh crap! Oh crap! Well, we got a chance to show off regex 101, which is actually a really useful site for building regexes. And the other thing that's useful is the ChatGPT understands regexes pretty well. So you can feed it a regex and it'll tell you what it's doing and vice versa.
Hey, I've never tried that.
It's actually a really good use for ChatGPT because sometimes regexes, in fact, there are a lot of people who say you should not be using regexes in Advent of Code, that's either a cheat or it's obscure because, I mean, if you look at the regexes, yeah, they are obscure. They're not,
it's a language of its own.
It's gobbledygook, yeah. And so I understand that. Although I hope when we went through it, you understood kind of as I was building it what it did. Now let's go look at part 2. As you scan through the corrupted memory, you notice some of the conditional statement. Oh crap! I can see where this is headed. Are still intact. If you handle some of the uncorrupted conditional statements, you might be able to get an even more accurate result. Okay, so there's 2 more instructions we have to find. There was mul, remember? Now we have do and don't. The do instruction enables future mul instructions.
Hey, there's Patrick. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Patrick. Good to see you. Are you doing this in PHP? He likes regex. You know what? I actually like regex too. In fact, I have Jeffrey Friedel's amazing book. Let me go get it. As long as I'm talking here, because this is the most incredible must-read volume for anybody who's a coder. This is, once you read this, and I confess I did read it many years ago, and I've forgotten almost everything. But once you read it, this book, you will be a regex wizard. Now it is a lot. This is the second edition. The first edition was, as usual, half the size. But this one, I'm very proud to say, has a note in it from Jeffrey Friedel, who at the time was working for a little company you might have heard of called Yahoo.
Nice.
Anyway, he says, I heard that you mentioned my book on your show. Unfortunately, I couldn't see it as my cable service doesn't carry it, but I wanted to send you a copy of the new edition, which just came out. There's a lot new. Yes, there is. So I hope you'll find it of use. I live in the Bay Area, so you ever like to chat about regex issues or Yahoo, drop me a line. He's gone on to other things. He's a great guy and a really good coder. And this is, anybody who wants to be a coder. I showed you 2 books last night. This is another one you got to add to your list. Just a must. And if I had remembered a quarter of what I'd read in there, I wouldn't have had so much trouble with this one. But you know what? Let's go back to it and dig in a little more. So I think what we're seeing here is when you see a do, it's going to turn on everything up to the next don't. Don't turns off everything until the next do, right? Only the most recent do or don't applies. At the beginning of each program, mul instructions are enabled. So you start, do mul, don't, mul, then do, so that's pretty straightforward, right? So now we're going to here's the new example. Or is this, is it the same example or a new example? Let me look. That's an interesting question. Were there do and don'ts? No, there weren't. Yes, there were. Is this the same? No, it's different. He's changed it. Okay, so we have a new example. So usually what I do is I do def parameter example 2. I'm just pasting. You don't need to see this. I'm just pasting that example. Which is funny because of example 1 I didn't really use because it was a single line and it wasn't that useful. But I took my chance and I paid my money and took my chances.
Do you know Matt Parker, the comedian / mathematician? You ever watch his videos?
I do not. I've never.
I sent you a video link. He did a regex that, or he covered a regex that can tell whether a number is prime or not.
What? Oh, that's crazy talk. Holy moly. Well, and that what that shows is that you can do calculations in a regex. And there's some things. Okay, if it ends in a 2,
he explains how it works.
If it ends in a 2, it's not prime.
It's basically doing the sieve using regex.
Oh, okay. The sieve of Eratosthenes.
Yes.
I'm sold that the sieve of Eratosthenes was often used as a benchmark for computing.
The Dave there, what's his last name? The Dave that used to work for Microsoft. He has his own video channel now. Dave
Yeah. I love him.
He uses Prime Civ to do
really
drag racing of program languages. See which one is more efficient and faster.
We used to do that. So this go back to the days of like Jerry Pornell and Byte Magazine. You would use the Civ to see how fast a computer was. It's an even less useful benchmark than modern benchmarks. So this corrupted memory is similar to the example from before, but this time some instructions are disabled and some are re-enabled. And the result of this one is 48. So let me put that into my test.
Yeah, I screwed up when I was doing mine because I didn't realize that the expression had changed. So I didn't make a new test case.
Clearly we have to do that because it has changed. And that's example 2. And that is day 3-2 test. Okay, so I've put the test in. Is there anything else we need to know? I think not. I just want to copy. There are tuning instructions you need to handle and put that in my Emacs here. So let's switch back over to Emacs.
It seems
This
deliberate that he chose to put the parentheses in his instructions to make you have to escape them in a regex.
It could very well be. He, as I remember, writes these in Perl. And I do wonder if you don't have to. And there are many people who don't use regexes in their solutions for these.
I think regex in Perl is built in just like it is in awk.
It is. It is. That's right. In fact, doesn't Perl stand for something like that? What does Perl stand for?
Expression something language.
Yeah. I feel like regex and Perl are almost
practical extraction and reporting language.
There you go. So you'd need regex, right?
Yeah. I actually wrote on early Unix, pre-Linux. I was tasked with writing a little check-in, check-out kind of, like Git, but very minimal. And I wrote it in awk because that was the only thing that was portable over all the flavors of Unix that we used.
Wow. Yeah, awk is actually great.
Yeah, it's a little weird until you get used to it, but
Very
it's
weird.
very capable.
It's amazing. I have a really good book called Sed and Awk because you really need to use both.
Yeah.
And if you know Awk and Sed, your text manipulation, kung fu is
basically Perl is kind of like that, and then
Exactly.
steroids at it.
Exactly. And that's why I did a lot of coding in Perl. In fact, back when it was Perl CGI, I did a lot of web server coding in Perl. Nobody uses CGI anymore, but right? I mean, CGI is long gone.
Yeah, pretty much. It's some people still use it for I wouldn't say for production code, but for kind of prototype stuff.
Right. All right. So I'm making now a new regular expression. So this is going to be do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts. Now, so what am I looking for now? Oh, okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to chunk it. So what I'm actually going to search for is do's and don'ts. Actually, I'm going to have one for do's and one for don'ts. So, in fact, I probably don't need to do this because it's not going to I'm not going to even do it as a pre-scanned.
So
here's the strategy I'm thinking. You tell me what you think. So I'm going to take these strings and I'm going to chunk them. I'm going to take the first chunk all the way up to a don't. And that's going to be in the list of expressions I can use. As soon as I see the don't, I throw out everything until I see a do.
You could do that, but I think that might actually be more work. Let me give you a suggestion.
Okay.
You know that in a regex you can alternate, right? You can have the bar be like an or. So why not just match do or don't or what you already have? And then as you're processing the command, it'll only be one of them at a time, recognize which one it is, and do whatever it tells you to do.
So you say with maybe a switch or a case statement kind of, or
like you already have a method that you can pass into that executes the command. It could just execute one of three different commands. You just have to recognize which one it was.
So every mul I see until I see a don't, I take.
So, well, I mean, in a traditional, iterative language, you can have a Boolean that's either for enabled, it's either enabled or it's not. Can you not do something?
Yeah, I could do that. Let me think.
And you just flip it back and forth, and if it's off,
Right.
you don't do anything. And
Right.
if it's on, you do the right thing.
Right.
So basically, you do one pass of extracting commands, whether it's a mul, a do, or a don't, and then another pass of interpreting that with a little interpreter.
That seems harder than what I was going to do.
Okay. Well, it might be. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems hard to me because I don't know how I would tackle it in Lisp. But if you know how to tackle it, then
Well, I
maybe
can visualize how to tackle it. You're almost writing a state machine, right? Because the state changes.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're really writing a kind of a state machine, but I'm not sure I really want to do that right now. I
So
was
I mean,
thinking. So here's what I was thinking. I have a string. I'm
right,
going to take some of that string and throw it out,
right.
and then I will
You
have a
can do that
string
with.
of
You
real
could theoretically
commands.
do that with regex. It
Yes,
doesn't start. It doesn't start with a do, so you could prepend a do to it, and then match everything between a do and a don't, and that's something that you're supposed to do.
oh, I like that.
And you can put a
So
don't at the end too, so it
put a
works.
don't at the end. Yeah, exactly.
I like that. So prepend to do, postpend to don't. Now I take the string and I'm searching for do's and don'ts, and I'm only taking stuff that's from do on.
And then you just pass that. Anything between a do and a don't, you pass into your existing code.
Right. Yeah. That seems simpler.
It does actually.
All right, I'm going to go to the bathroom while I think about it. I'll be right back. You talk amongst yourselves.
Someone in the IRC channel did what Leo's talking about, basically.
And the person in chat there with the handle N, yeah, Leo's really good at explaining. I was noting that before. He's really good at talking as he works.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would be as good at that.
decades of experience.
Yeah, exactly. I tend to get like pulled into what I'm doing, and I would just stop talking.
Hmm.
Darren was asking whether he was using regex or not in the
Mm.
Discord.
Who is saying using regex is feeding or something?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I think it's I think anything if you can use a spreadsheet to do this, then
All
you
right,
go
where'd
ahead
the
and use a
camera
spreadsheet.
go?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what's it looking at?
Use any programming language
This
except
camera's searching for a human.
It looks like it found another camera
The
hanging on the
human
wall.
is over here. No, no, the human is over here. Ha! Hello.
It
It's
looked
so
like it
funny.
found
This
another
is an
camera.
automated camera.
better watch out.
Where's the
Really.
human? There used to be a human here. Where did the human go? Okay. Yes, I only do this because I don't have to code at any other time, Patrick. You, as a coder, in fact, I'm always impressed that Darren and Cyphase and Paul do this because, God, this is what they do for a living. Me, this is like crossword puzzles. All right, so what I think would be kind of fun to do on this is what I just said. So I am going to. Is this real? No, no, this is not real, Lord. This is imaginary.
AI generated Leo.
AI, I'm the main reason I do all this stuff is so that when I pass, which by the way I've learned according to my death calendar will be soon. Well, not that soon, but did I show you? I showed you this on
Yeah. Quit.
Sunday. Yeah. Uh, it says, let's go full screen here. Leo, that's so bright. It's too bright. Too bright. Says, Leo is going to die on Monday, March 18th,
Oh,
2041.
you got an extra day. It was the 17th
Hey.
last time.
Oh my God. Oh, you know why? Because I survived today.
Right, there you go.
You're right. It was St. Patrick's Day. Now I've lived an extra day. Anyway, So the reason I'm doing all this is so that when that day comes, March 18th, 2041, there will be all this video of me solving Advent of Code, and I can go on doing it for the rest of my death. All right, back to Emacs. Whoops.
The fourth Matrix movie was on TV last night, and I don't think that that's a great movie, but
The worst.
You could be in the Matrix solving Advent of Code.
Exactly. I do remember going to see the first Matrix completely unprepared. I went by myself. Must have been a rainy day and I didn't have anything else to do. I had no idea what I was seeing, and I went out of there mind blown. Like utterly just
Bullet time was a major invention. I mean, at the time,
Yeah.
if you ever saw the behind the scenes, that was incredible what they did.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the way they did that with all those cameras. Of course Alex Lindsay immediately duplicated it.
Right.
All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to take each line and I want to add do and don't at the beginning and the end. I'm thinking actually I might just do this in the ultimate function, because it really is, everything's the same except, well, we'll see. I might need to do something else. But anyway, so how did I write that? Progs. Okay, day 32 progs. I'm going to be given a list of strings that are programs. The first thing I want to do is, I'm going to do this again, same thing I did for P and progs.
So I don't think you want to do it across each line. You only want to do it across the whole input.
Really?
Wow.
Are you telling me that the do's and don'ts?
I don't know, but I don't think you could assume.
Oh.
There's a single line or
The
single
input
string.
is a single string.
Yeah.
Okay, so I shouldn't be doing read file lines.
So,
I should be doing read file line.
I'll give you one of the speed hints that I use, which is there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking the input you're given and manipulating it before you put it into your program. You
Oh,
don't
I
have
always.
to. So if you just want to edit the input and have a second file and just stick a do at the beginning.
Oh,
and
I
start
don't
at the end.
do that. That's
Well, why not?
cheating. No.
Okay.
All right. So you're right. It is a single string, the whole thing. It's a string of length 3073.
Wow.
But the good news is I only have to append do once and
Right.
post
Don't
postpend don't once.
Right.
Actually, I don't need the don't anymore, do I? No, because there's nothing more after that last line.
Yeah, but if your regex has to match it, it's got to
Oh,
be there
yeah,
in case there isn't
right.
one.
Has to be in between, yeah.
You got to make sure you write it correctly, or else you're gonna.
So I don't have progs anymore. I just have the prog line. I'll just say prog line. Or prog string, I'll say. Because I want to remember that it's a string. So it's no more, you're right, no more iteration. It's just one big ass string.
Right.
The iteration will be later when I
Well, you're going to extract substrings. from
parse the
biggest string.
substrings. Yeah. So I do need. Okay, well, first let's. So we're going to append. And does it matter? Is capitalization?
I think it should be.
It's all lowercase, isn't
You
it?
can tell regex to not be case sensitive.
Right.
By default, it will be, and it is all lowercase.
Yeah, I'll make. I'll do the case insensitive thing. So I'm going to append do, prog string, and don't. So now I'm making a larger.
You got to have the braces. It's a function, do and don't. They're functions. They have an open and closed parentheses.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for that.
Nope.
Oh no, I see what you see. I see it here. Yeah, do.
Not list functions, real functions.
Yes. Now I understand. Why do you put the parenthesis after the? That's ridiculous. It should be inside the parenthesis. I see. Okay, the do. Yeah, and I see it up here. This is why I do paste some of the stuff from Advent of Code.
Donnie's asking a good question. What are you using here? Is this Linux?
This is a Mac.
Oh,
I'm Emacs 19 running on a Mac. My Emacs config files are on my GitHub, and they're quite extensive. I will show you real quickly what I do for Lisp, because I have. It started actually. I read Closure for the Brave and True, and he had a very nice Emacs setup for Closure. So I started with that, and one of the things he did that I think was quite nice was he divided his Emacs config into a bunch of files. So I'll just show you real
Isn't
quick.
the programming language in Emacs, isn't it also Lisp?
It is It's called eLisp. It is. So it is. So there's. Oh, let me see if I can remember this. It's a sort of. It is Lisp, but it's a Lisp. It's a Type 1 Lisp instead of a Type 2 Lisp. You could have Lisp with functions and variables in different namespaces or all in one namespace. And it's the other way from. It's obscure, and I can't remember the exact details, but yeah, it's not quite the same. Anyway, these are all my and this is all available on GitHub. I'm nothing secret. All my customization files, but the Lisp customization file, I have a package called Projectile, which handles things as projects. That works for other languages as well. Same with Tremax. Now this is one of the things that Lisp is great. There are two different packages, Emacs packages for Lisp. One is Slime, and Sly is a later version. That's the REPL is running Sly. And actually, Sly is a server. The REPL hooks into the server. There's a server running in the background that it hooks into. Sly is fantastic. It's doing a lot of what you're seeing in the REPL. I have an autocomplete package, obviously. I have Lispy is the package I mentioned that does all the auto parenthesizing. I always put my REPL in the same place, so this just says always put it on the right. This is where to find Lisp, and it's different on a Mac than it is on other operating systems. As you can see, I have a lot of colors in my parenthesis, but that makes it very easy for me to see what parenthesis goes to what.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah. This is just LDoc mode, which there's a few things that make it easier. Oh, this is nice. This Lisp has a hyperspec, which is a full spec of the language online. And so this will, if I highlight a command, I can look it up. W3M is an Emacs embedded Emacs browser. I can look it up on the hyperspec and get the full spec. I'll show you actually. The hyperspec is also available on a website, so I'll quickly show you what that looks like. It's L1SP, I think. Oh, you know what? This browser is. I'm getting distracted. Let me go back to Emacs. Don't distract me. Anyway, so I have a few little things like that in here that make it a little easier to code Lisp. All right. So what was I going to do? Okay, I'm going to append that. So that will make my program string do what I want, but I also need to think about my regex. So my regex, let me think about this. I'm going to look for do, and I'm going to look for don't, and I'm going to group out the stuff between do and don't, right? That's the groups I want.
Right. The only trick you're going to run into is if you use .star, for example, to capture everything between a do and a don't. Those can be greedy, and it'll take the whole damn string.
Ah, right. I want to. Right, greedy. Greedy always gets me. I'm not sure I'm going to finish this tonight. Is it getting late? It's getting a little late.
I'm with you, Donnie. I like Vim too, but I understand Leo's love of Emacs. Cause
if you're coding in Lisp, you really want to use Emacs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Vim is great, and I learned Vim first. Vim is great for having a bunch of macros that do a lot of stuff and processing. Right. You can do the same thing in Emacs. I mean, functionality. What I don't like about Vim is it's so modal. I don't like that there's a difference between insert mode and command mode. And Emacs is not so modal. Emacs, once you use it for about 10 years.
Well, so I used VI on Solaris.
Wow.
When I started, and started programming professionally on Unix, and
so you have :Q bang in your fingers, right?
Right, exactly. And I just I didn't always have a GUI, so just straight VI is Emacs.
Well,
works very well without a GUI, does it?
Well, watch. I'm gonna go Control-CT. Oh, I haven't turned it on here. But I can go into a terminal. I'll do eShell. I'm in a shell.
Oh, okay.
It is what's weird about eShell. There are a variety of different terminals. Actually, I don't normally use the Emacs shell. It's not a shell. It's Emacs. But there are terminals you can run as well. I use vterm often. But anyway, that's kind of cool.
How did
Basically, Emacs is an operating system.
right? Yeah. How did Patrick get Emacs on deck? He should have been using TPU or Eve.
Yeah. Ed. He should have been using Edlin. Ed.
Well, so Vax VMS had a default one. I think it was called Eve, but it was written in TPU, or it was the other way around. Like there was a default interface that you could have, but it was written in a editor writing language.
Yikes.
And I think it was Pascal based.
All right. So I am going to create a scanner. Actually, I don't need to create a scanner. I am going to look at this whole thing, and I'm going to get a list. So what I really am going to do is what did I say before I did match all as string?
You could do all matches.
All
right?
match. Yeah. All matches as strings. And now here comes the regex, and it is going to be, this will be everything between do and don't, right? So I'm going to have do.
As long as you can tell it not to be greedy. And I have to look that up every time.
Yeah, I do too.
It's a question mark after the plus or the star.
Oh, okay. You're right. Yes. Thank you. Cyphase to the rescue. So this is a group now, and it is going to be everything between the do, right?
Right.
And the don't.
Don't. Yep.
Until the first don't. Yeah.
That's why we don't want it to be greedy, right?
Until the last don't.
That's precisely why we don't want it to be greedy, because if it's greedy, it would go all the way to the end. It would do everything in between. Yeah. So you're saying if I put that question mark after the star, it will not be greedy. It'll just be the shortest possible result.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to test that. Okay. So there you have it. And I am going to do that against UIOP read file.
So you got to have the version where you prepended it, right?
Oh yeah, I haven't done that yet. Yeah. Never mind. So I think what I want to do is, do I want to define a global? No.
Can you just take what you have and put that as the?
Yeah, I have example 2. So
no, but I mean, with the code you've already written that's in the brackets down below, can you just copy that code and pass that as the parameter to your?
Yeah, I could. But what I'm going to do instead is do it against the example, right? Does that make sense? Because the example 2 I pasted in up here is this.
Oh, okay.
But I have to do the append. I forgot to do the append. So let's do this. Append. Do. And
I don't know if this would be a problem, but it would be possible, for example, to have 2 do's in a row, not a don't in between. And so to prevent that, I think you'd want to make sure that the regex match is not overlapping, or to not allow overlapping matches, so that
Well, if there's another do, I don't care. I'm gonna get a lot of junk in this group anyway, including maybe some stray do's. I won't get any don'ts, so it won't ever get turned off. Those extra do's don't do anything.
Well, they don't do anything within a string, but if there are 2 do's in a row and then a don't,
I will get
I don't think that
you could get string back or 2 strings back.
It'll be junk DNA in the middle, right?
Right. Because you're
I'm
going
gonna
to
process
extract out of
that anyway.
that malt. So I think you're all right.
Let's see.
Okay.
All right. So I'm appending do to the example 2 and don't, and let's just see if this works. So I'm going to select this copy it, paste it over here. Example 2 is not compiled yet. Well, that would make sense. Now we'll do this again. The value due is not of type list. Wait a minute. Where am I getting that from?
So your append doesn't take string?
Oh, I think I might have to say string. Let's see. Yeah, these are lists. I shouldn't use append. I should use concatenate. I think that's how you do it. This is where you see an old language, right? This would all have been, taken out of the language. But I kind of don't mind it being there. Yes, look at this. So the result of that was this. It's greedy. Because here's a don't.
No, that's what you told to match.
Oh yeah, right. That's in the quote. Oh yeah, there you go. There's two. There's two. Yes, there's two of these. Oh yes. So it worked.
Seems like it.
Oh, except that. Why am I getting the dues? Because I thought I grouped that.
But did you tell it to just extract the group? It's extracting the whole thing, I think.
Oh, all matches. I can't.
I don't think it hurts you either way. So
No, I could throw it out.
Not worth worrying about.
I could throw it out. So
but
now I
have. You're gonna look for mults inside
right,
of that.
I'm only looking for mults
anyway.
So this is good, right? So that is the right kind of processing.
Now you just got to pass that into your part 1.
Yeah, I think you're right. By George, you've got it. So this little thing here, I'm gonna make it a function. So this is going to extract proper. Oh, I already have that. Let's see, extract chunks, because that's what it's doing, from a given string. And the string is going to be not example 2, but str. And that's going to return, so given a string of instructions, including do and don't, return a list of all instructions, of a list of strings of instructions between do and don't, i.e. proper instructions. Okay, so that's what this does. In fact, let's just test it again. I'm going to say extract chunks from, and let's use the, let's do first, let's do the whole thing, UIOP. Let's go crazy. Why not? Read file, line, data file. Let's do the whole thing. Let's see what we get. So we are getting this seems like it's too few. But if it's all in one string, this is stuff between do, and let's just go to the end. There should be a don't. Yeah, there's 3 strings of 273, 854, and 568. But this last one is good. It ends with a don't.
I'm just looking at my answer, and the difference between was 188 million and 113 million. So,
okay,
still pretty large.
It's still going to be big. You know what? It's a lot of multiplication still. All right, so that looks like that worked. So that's a very interesting little thing I just did here, which is basically I took out. Now I can use my regular stuff, right?
Yep, exactly.
Everything the same.
Seems.
You created a new input for yours.
Yeah. Yeah. So day 13.2. I do want to change this from read file lines to read file line. Okay, that means it'll be a single string. I should have probably done that the first time. After I'm done, I go through this and kind of clean it up. But so I'm going to read in this program string. I'm going to extract the chunks from the string. These are the good chunks from prog string. And that adds the do and the don't at the beginning and the end. Thank you. I would not have thought of that until about 1 a.m. So thank you for suggesting that, the do at the beginning and especially the don't at the end. Okay, so that gives me a list of stuff that I can then do this to. Right? This is because that's that's the same thing.
Like it, yep.
Yeah. All right.
You could literally probably even pass that to part 1 almost if it part 1.
I could. But part 1 is written to take. It's different, but that's all right. This will work. So it's instead of P and progs, it's going to be P and extract chunks.
It is nice when you can call it part 2.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Oops. Meta Y gives me the kill ring, and I actually wanted that. Okay. So I am going to go through each of those chunks. So I'll make it a chunk in chunks, and I'm going to extract the proper commands from the chunk. I'm going to execute the commands, and I'm going to sum them. I think that's it. Does that make sense?
Sounds right.
See, I think my answer is that's a better way than writing a state machine. Excuse me. I'm still I'm still a little bit PTSD from the state machine last year.
Fair enough. The only potential upside to a state machine is if you had a massive amount of input.
True.
You couldn't have it all in memory at once.
True. Somebody has joined us. Let's turn on. Oh, Darren Oakey is here.
Hey.
Our friend from down under. Hi, Darren.
I can't really talk about it because I'm walking home, but I'm just listening.
It's the middle of the day. Well, we've been having fun, and it actually, again, hasn't been too hard, except for me trying to remember my regular expression syntax. But I think it hasn't been too bad. We've extracted the chunks that are legit, the stuff between do and don't. And so we're now going to have a list. This is going to return a list. I'm going to take that list, extract chunks, and I'm going to go through that list for every chunk in there, and I'm going to I think that should do it. I feel, undefined progster. Did I type it wrong? Day 302, prog string. What? I said it's a oh, yeah, this is where you can get burnt with parentheses. There you go.
You want to put them where they don't belong.
Right. So extract chunks, progster, and then for every chunk, do what I did last time. I wonder if this will work. Yes, it passes. Oh my God, could we be done so soon? The only thing I changed here, notice this was read file lines because I naively thought I wanted to get a list of lines. In fact, it is one long string. So I'm going to read file line, which in other words says take that whole input file. It's a single string. Pass that string to day 3.2, and I think we'll have an answer. Let's just see. It says the answer is 19,281,440. That seems low, doesn't it?
Maybe, but try it.
Let's see. All right, so we're going to switch back. Does seem low. I'm second guessing myself.
It would be lower.
It would be lower because there's a lot of do's and don'ts. 192. Are you seeing AOC? 81.
Yes.
440. Is that right? 192 81440.
So that's 19 million. That seems reasonable.
All right. Drum roll, please. No, it's too low.
It is too low. Oh no.
It's too low. Actually, it's good this happened because I want everybody to see what happens when you screw up. So sometimes he'll give you a hint like it's too low, but if you keep trying, he will stop saying it's too high or too low, and soon you'll start getting a timer saying you can't do this again for 5 minutes because
5 minutes,
you're
yeah.
you're guessing, buddy. Don't no guesses allowed. All right, so it's too low.
Binary search.
So that's actually means probably there's something in the input string that maybe we are doing something, we're not getting everything we thought we're getting. Let me look at the input string. Oh my God! I'll show you this.
Pretty big.
This is awful. This is the input string. So it's a single string, and we put a do in front of it, and then there's one don't. So I mean, there's no easy way to look at this and say, oh, well, yeah, clearly you're not getting enough of it.
Hey, out of sync. Good to see you.
Out of sync. Welcome. Oh, that's good to know. So if you're close, it says too low. Interesting. All right.
So one thing you could try would be to, had that in Emacs or whatever, you could search for the first don't and then see what the length of that is and then compare it to what you're getting.
Ah,
You output the length of your first extraction.
okay. Hey, boy, that's a great way to test it. So let's do that. Let's so extract chunks. Actually, I think I already did this, didn't I? From that, and what I want is the first one, right? And I want the length of the first.
So we're seeing the.
Oh, you're
Advent code
seeing
screen.
Advent code. Let me change over to Emacs. Thank you. I keep forgetting. So now I'm over here on the right in my REPL, and what I want to do is get the length of the first chunk from the file, and it says 273. So let's just go back to. I don't know if I have a way of doing that. Let me think. I could load it to BB edit, I guess. I want to see if the length should be the same.
On Windows, you could throw it into Notepad++. But
Yeah, I have BB edit here, so let's do BB edit. I think that'll do it. Let me shift over so you can see BB edit.
But even still, if just in any editor, if you could just find the first don't and press enter, then you could tell roughly if it looked like it was 273 characters long or not.
That's exactly, I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. Why don't I see, there it is. Okay, here's
Is
BB
the regular
edit.
expression library doing something weird with new lines? Is it stopping it?
I don't think so. But that's another thing is I should look at the length of the full input and just see. That's a very good idea. Let me see.
I thought of that, but you wouldn't have passed part one if that was the case.
Oh, I know because I do part one as a series of strings instead of.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I did it wrong. Well, not wrong. I didn't do it. It's not wrong. It's just different. All right.
Wrong.
That is
That's just different.
Let me open the input. I didn't open the right thing. Input text. Okay. Here's the input. And I'm going to find. This actually has a very nice grep in it, but I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to find this. Oops. Let me do that again. It highlighted them all. So the first one is here. So that's the first string. That looks like about 273. Let me cut off the rest. I think there's a word count here. Where's word count? Or maybe it's just showing it. Oh, it is. Yeah, it says 263. Is that a cause for concern? I don't know. Let me take this. Well, I don't know. That's 263, and this is 273. Oh, you know what? That's because I'm including the do and don't. I'm getting the do and the don't, right? Let's do this again. Yeah, I'm getting the do and the don't. So it is 273. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 8, plus 2 is plus 10. Yeah. So that's correct. The first chunk is the correct length, according to my...
So is it possible that your sum is not summing across all the chunks?
Yeah,
And
there's
the
some...
sum of one chunk?
Yeah, it might be some other simple thing like that, huh?
Or if you are doing it line by line, is it possible you're not preserving the concept of do or don't across the line?
No, I'm not now. I'm reading it all as a single string.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm reading it in as a single string, and I'm taking that string.
So I would suggest
adding a test with a new line.
Yeah, I was just going to say, or just adding a test in general with a couple of blocks and make sure that a simple test that you just write some, gobbledygook in there and a couple of mults, and so you can manually know what the answer should be. That might be another way.
To say, test the extract chunks, you think?
Well, yeah, provide your own large block, which isn't actually very large.
Right.
And keeping with new lines in it.
But there are no new lines in the input, I don't think. Let me go back
Well,
to
there are, because there are 5 lines when you open it in BB Edit.
That was because... No, it's wrapping. Oh, it is 5 lines.
So maybe it only.
So there are new lines.
Maybe it only loads the first line.
That's what's happening. So there are lines. Oh yeah, well that would totally explain it. That was just the first
regex by
line.
default is
Yeah.
is very sensitive.
Oh, there
to
are
lines.
lines. Oh yeah, they're 5 lines. I thought there was 1 line. Okay, well that's simple. Okay, I see what we've got now here. So I have to do this, extract chunks on. I have to go back to read file lines as I was, and I now extract chunks. So this is going prog strings plural is going to be 5 lines. So I have to go through each of those lines.
Change the regex to not stumble on the new lines.
But you don't want to do the concatenation on each line. You only want to concatenate the do in the first line and the don't in the last line.
Do the lines go together or?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I could just
it's one big corrupt program that's broken into 5 lines for whatever.
So
reason.
if I stripped out new lines, then I would be done. That would be better.
Yeah.
Right?
That shouldn't hurt, other than you would take a lot more memory or whatever. But
and there's a lot of regex. Almost all the regexes have a thing that tells you to ignore red, but new lines or not. Like a flag.
Usually a flag, yeah.
Where do I do that flag? Is it slash? Is it the end slash?
So usually it's regex specific, I think, or like implementation specific, isn't it?
What are you using? All matches as strings. Oh, here it is. I'm looking at the PPCRE documentation.
Wow, that's exactly it. M modifier multi-line. No, that's so yeah. Basically, I want to ignore the new lines in the regex or manually take all the strings and put them together.
Yeah, you could
just
take an in-between function that would
just replace the line with the empty string. That would work too.
You know what? I'm going to ask my little buddy.
Hey,
little buddy.
Little buddy.
Hey, little buddy. Let's ask our little buddy here. How do I read in a multi-line file as a single string, eliminating new lines? How smart is ChatGPT? Let's see. The face you see here is John McCarthy, the father of Lisp.
Oh,
Oh God, you have to write your own.
That's a lot.
I
Also,
can. I
how
think
you
I could do.
ignore in the regex, just how you ignore carriage returns
Yeah.
or
How
You
do
could probably
I
also replace the dot
ignore
with
new lines
the group,
in a
which
regex?
is dot and slash n. That might work. It's kind of kludgy.
Question S flag at the beginning of the
That sounds
regex.
right. There we go.
Questions at the beginning of the regex. Okay, so in other words, if I put that at the beginning,
you got to show us code again.
oh yeah,
We're seeing your.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That's why I'm so slow, by the way. I just want you to all know I would be doing this in minutes if I didn't have to switch back and forth. All right, so put this here at the front.
Yeah, that's
I think they're in curly braces.
Oh, is it?
and
Oh yeah,
also
that would.
the changes you
would
made, because I think you made some changes as you were starting to try and work around this. Like progsters was prog, I think.
yeah.
So I want to
Thank
undo
you.
some stuff.
Yeah.
There's something else
So
to it.
if I do this,
I don't think it's
okay, for
parentheses. It's
chunk,
curly braces. Your question mark S has to be inside of curly braces.
not in, not according to my little buddy here.
I thought it was curly braces. But...
It is parentheses according to
According
the
to my
doc.
little buddy.
Okay. It's
My
a really
little
small
buddy.
font. To me, it looked like it was curly braces. I'll agree. There
Can
we
you
go.
read that? Can you read that? All right. So that makes okay. Yeah. No. Thank you. That's appropriate. So that's weird. I would not have known that, but that's kind of cool. This enables dot all. Well, that's not what I want though. To ignore. To begin, this enables
Yeah, well,
dot all mode,
that's
which causes
fine.
not
dot
all
to match.
is what you want. It
Yeah,
means dot matches slash n as well.
Okay, which I
Don't have
want.
to try it.
It just mushes it all together.
But I think the problem you're having is that whatever function that's reading the file was only reading one line versus reading all lines.
Yes. So would this now? No. I think this reads.
Well, you had
Just-
that would just read the
That
first
was
line.
the
Of
other
the
change
file.
we made. Yeah.
I think that was just reading the first line of the file,
Let's see here.
and so you weren't getting all.
Oh,
the
so
data.
I want all the lines. Okay.
Right.
Well, no. I thought this is if you say read line, it reads the whole thing as one line. If you,
That's what I think. But let me see. Let's
It's an
find
array.
out. Let's find out.
yeah,
That's why we have a REPL.
love the
Got to love the REPL. So,
yeah 3073.
geez Louise. What happened here? Oh, 3073. Is that right? Is that how long it is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
So it's reading the full thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back to BB Edit real quickly and just verify that it is in fact.
Well, no, I'm not so sure.
It says. Yeah, now I'm not so sure either. This looks
I remember
like it's.
3073 at some point, but maybe it was
It looks
No.
like it's
the whole file.
the dot. No, it's 19,261 characters.
Okay, so it's just read
So
line or lines
I go back to lines,
in string.
and what I get with the lines is 5 lines as a
Right.
list, and then I can smush that all together.
Yeah. That's fine.
That was the code that it gave you, wasn't it, to do that basically? When
Yeah,
you
it's
asked
just
it how-
Well, if you smush them together, then you don't need that flag in the regex anymore, too.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay. So what I will do then is I will take this
You can leave it, but yeah. we don't need
check.
it.
So this is it. So the first thing I have to do is take this and apply append to this. which by doing that, I am appending all 5 of those lines into a single. I think
Oh.
that's what
Okay.
I get. Apply, do append to.
So apply
UIOP.
seems like kind of like it's like in what would be execute in good old BASIC. It's running something.
Yeah, what it does is it applies a function to everything, to every item in a list. But it's not map. It's different than that. It's I don't know. Let me.
In answer
There's
to,
reduce and apply, and Lisp has 2 things: reduce and
Right.
apply, and they have slightly different meanings.
okay. In answer
No.
to Daniel Sobey's question in the chat, if you did it to every line, then you could potentially have a do that gets closed when it wasn't supposed to be because they are allowed to stay open across the line. So you have to do it once at the very beginning of the input to make sure there is an initial do because you're matching on that, and once at the very end, don't, so that you're guaranteed to have a match that ends at the end of the file. He was suggesting you would do it for every line, which would potentially break. It would add a do or a don't in the middle where there didn't need to be one, and would break a section that starts on one line and ends on the next. So what you're doing is doing at the beginning of the file and at the end of the file. And if there was no other do or don't, that would give you the whole file, which would be just part 1. If there's a do there already at the beginning and you don't care, you're just going to have a do inside of your do. You're skipping those anyway because you're only looking for
Right.
alt.
This is an extra do. Yeah,
Right.
I can have as many do's as I want inside. I'm just looking for a match. I want to match all do's and don'ts.
Right. But
And
the
right
two
now, I'm
that-
trying to think of how I read in this multi-line file as a single line. And append doesn't work because that's for lists. So I want to use concatenate, or let me. I'm gonna have to go to my.
Concatenate was what you used before.
Yeah, that's what I use for strings, but I don't know how to. Let me ask the genius real quickly. Hey, genius. Hey, genius. First of all, make your letters smaller.
So it is
do
interesting, though,
I
Leo, that
read-
really what you're doing now is just fighting the language syntax or whatever.
Exactly.
It's
Because
not,
we've
not
solved it.
understanding the problem.
Right. But that's part for me, being a non-pro, a lot of what I do is struggle with the language, right?
Yeah.
Because, so there's 2 parts to all of this. And as we get deeper into it, it becomes more and more solving the problem. These are easy problems. So the logic of the problem is not the issue. But
Right.
in a way, I think he's designed it that way because really these first few are kind of finger exercises.
But even still, like last night, there was a little bit of trickiness to last night's, and there's a little bit more tonight with these braces in
That's
your
right.
regex.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, he pushes it a little bit every day.
Yeah, which is great. And I think he does it very well. Last year, not so well, but this year he's so far so good. How do I read a multi-line? Didn't I already ask it this?
Yeah, it gave you a program.
Yeah.
You can scroll
As
back up.
a
and probably
single
get it.
line. I'm going to say using UOIP. Maybe that. Will,
Okay.
maybe it's part of the utility package. Ah. Oh no. He's son of a bitch. He still wants me to open a file, read the file into a single string.
Oh,
Preserving new lines. We don't mind that, right?
that's fine. Yeah.
Let's try it. What am I going to do? Let's do length.
I'm looking at my input. It looks like most of the moles are between a do and a don't.
Say that again. Most of the moles are between a do and a don't. Interesting.
Yeah, most of them are valid.
Yeah. Well, why would he do that? I guess it doesn't really matter. Why? What?
No,
Yeah.
they're
Read
probably
file as. Let me see that again. Read file string. Read file string. data file. Yeah, 19,261, right? That's the right length.
Sounds right.
19,261. It is. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
this is the difference here is read file string. Yeah, I thought there was a way to do that. Okay, that makes more sense. So now I'm going to get a string as I expect.
So now unless you can remove that question mark S part
I don't need that anymore, right?
But otherwise, unless you've made changes to break this, you should be able to run it again, and it should give you a different number.
This is where incremental compile is so nice. That passed before. This is the one that didn't pass. Now we've got a different number, 742-07640. Let's try it. So yeah, it was really fighting the language, wasn't it? It was just, figuring out what the syntax was although I had to kind of understand what form the input file was. So that makes sense. 07640. So it's 74,207,640.
Oh, before you had like 19 million something.
Yeah. Does this? Well, let's see what happens. Ah, too low. Did I mistype it? I don't think I did.
If you double click on the box there, will the browser show you what you've typed previously?
Will it?
If you click twice, sort of. No.
No. This is Chrome. It's stupid. 742-07640. I'm pretty sure that's what I typed.
I think so.
Yeah, Now I have to wait again. But I think that was wrong. So, So I still have some sort of... I'm getting closer. We are using Common Lisp Ebucel. And that is in Emacs. That's what you're seeing. And I'm the only one in the world who uses Common Lisp. Actually, there's a few people solving this in Common Lisp, but nobody here in the room is doing it. Paul uses Java. The rest of them, I think, Cyphase, Darren uses Python. Real languages, serious languages, languages used by professionals. I'm using languages used by iconoclasts. Hobbyists. No, I refute that. I don't think Common Lisp is a hobbyist language.
No. I'm not saying it's
I think it's a weirdo language, but I don't think it's a hobbyist language.
No, I didn't mean the language itself to say hobbyist.
I'm a hobbyist, yes, that's for sure. All right, so should maybe try putting that question mark parenthesis? What was it again? S like that? What was it?
Oh, was it not there?
No, I took it out because I thought we didn't need it anymore.
Yeah, we do.
No. That's we did need it because we went to read file string. So yeah, we did need it.
Okay, I thought if it was all one long string, you wouldn't need it. But okay, let's see if it makes a difference.
Let's see.
Well, because the new lines are still there.
It does give us a larger number. Son of a bitch.
That's why. Yeah, that definitely needs to be there because there are new line characters in this single string because it's reading the whole file.
Right. And,
so that's what live is for.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Cyphase to the rescue. Well, let's try this larger number, which is now 906.
Oh, there we go.
69332. So it's 90,669,332. 906,69332. All right. Oh my God!
Hey.
Thank you, Cyphase. Bravo. Thank you. You saved the day. I would not have. I would have maybe eventually gotten there, but that's fantastic. So,
question, what I actually did as I was trying to solve it, I was like, "Wait, how do you include new lines again?" So I just split it and then I rejoined it and I just threw it in there. Yeah. I didn't want to take the time to look up the flag to, whatever. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
When I was reading the problem, I was getting worried that he was going to put the braces on the do's and don'ts around things that you had to match, and that was going to make it really ugly.
I think, honestly, the logic of what I came up with, I think, is pretty clear, pretty clean.
Oh, yeah.
Just I'm only going to want the chunks between the do's and the don'ts. I struggled a little bit with the regex. We had to figure out this question mark S thing, and we took it out. I took it out prematurely, but it's back in. That means ignore new lines, which we do in fact want to do. So what we do now is I read the entire data file as a string. I'm going to pass that string, we call it prog string here, to this function, which first thing it does is it takes prog string and it extracts the chunks. This is actually the only really big change in part 2, which is to say I only want to look at stuff in between do and don't. And that is this capture right here. And by the way, in order to make this work, we have to put a do at the front and a don't at the back. Otherwise, the match, it won't do the match, because if there's a missing don't or a missing do, it won't find the beginning or the end. So we do that, and now we're going to get out of this extract chunks a list of legitimate commands with a bunch of still garbage in there, just as we did in part 1. So that's where the second part comes in. So we're going to get a list of chunks. We're going to take those chunks and we're going to only, again, do another extraction, take out the mulls, and we're going to execute all the mulls, and that's going to give us a number, and then we're going to sum those as we go through each chunk. And that gave us the final number, which is 90,669,332. So I'm going to do a CK, which compiles the whole thing and gives me the final results plus timings. And I'm going to put that at the bottom here. And since we are on, I'm going to go back to Advent of Code because I'm very curious how long that took me. And fortunately, Eric times all of this. So let's go back to Advent of Code. And we do have the happy hooray. And I'm going to go back to the leaderboard. And our private leaderboard, we'll see how we are doing. Oh, hey, I've gone up a notch. I'm now in 4th place, just behind the 3 people on the line with me, Cyphase, Paul, and Darren. I'm catching up to you guys. Thanks to you guys. Actually, I'm tied with Ty. So TY2K and I have 304 points. The timings.
Looks like Jillian got her chance to get in and get it faster. She didn't go to the beach or something today.
Good job. Good job, Jillian. Look at all the people participating with us. I think that's fantastic. There you are, out of sync. I think this is really great. We're having a lot of fun. Galia, you got the first 2 days done. That's great. She's going to wake up in Israel in a couple of hours and do day 3. Where do I find the timings? I forgot.
If you go to leaderboard at the top, I think.
Yeah.
And then personal times.
Personal time. Oh, no, is it on that page? Click
personal times.
Click on leaderboard and then personal time.
Yeah.
Okay. So it took me 50 minutes. I'm actually sped up on that one to the first part. Now, this is cumulative, right? So 2 hours for the whole thing, I think.
Right.
Yes? Yeah. So I also like to paste that in.
So if you have the plug-in for this for your Firefox, I don't know if
I have to get that. Yeah.
Then,
I have to get that.
It'll give you the difference between the two. It actually will sort on who did the fastest difference between part 1 and part 2.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it took me an hour to do the second part, an hour and 8 minutes. But you were watching, so you knew that. That was no surprise to you at all. Well, that was fun. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It makes it so much more fun to do it with a little help, and I think I made it a lot faster. So Paul and Darren and Cyphase. Darren, I guess, has finished his walk. He's left us. Very nice. Very nice. I appreciate it. And thanks to all the people who are watching in the chat. There are 486 people who stuck it through to the very end. Ebucel, Lisp, it doesn't have to be wordy. I write in a wordy style. In fact, if you look at some other common Lisp solvers, a lot of these will be one-liners, or they'll do a lot of composition, combine everything all together. Oh, Paul left and came back. Welcome back, Paul. Oh, you got your camera on? No, you don't.
No,
Okay.
I got disconnected for some reason. I thought you just went quiet, and then it's like, wait a minute. I don't know what
Wasn't
happened.
me. I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it.
Wasn't my network that I'm aware of, but
What fun! I thought this was really really great, but I don't know if I can do a day 4. I don't think I can. Maybe we'll try it. What do you think? It's getting harder,
well.
isn't it?
even just doing part 1 is never, I mean, it depends if you're going to, I mean,
That's true. I could just do part 1.
you
know
can
what?
do part 1 on a recording if it's doable, and then you take more time if you need for part 2 or whatever.
Yeah, I think that.
I mean, I'm
I'm
assuming
just
you're
gonna-
planning to continue to do it until you get it done. If it doesn't take until
Yes,
next July,
I will. The only question is whether I do it on camera until I get it done.
Yeah.
That's the real challenge, is to do it in front of people. I think my goal here is to do it until flop sweats, until it's like, I give up, I can't do it, and I'm going to turn off the camera and go home. But I think it's kind of fun, and I think that's part of the experience for people watching, is to know that happens too. I want to make this. I always like to
Right.
make it authentic.
right?
So-
I think that's a valuable thing for people to experience.
Yeah. I don't want, if you watch the really good solvers, the people who do this in minutes and seconds, you're not going to learn anything, because what they're doing is so specialized. This is,
I assume a lot of those people that get it in minutes have a
Oh.
massive code library that they
Exactly.
rely on, and they
Exactly.
have eidetic memory, so they can see that code just like they just wrote it.
Exactly. I think that's exactly true. And it's real, and they also have setups that facilitate this, because I've been watching some of these guys, and they're seeing results from what they're typing as they're typing it. They have some very interesting setups. So, yeah, they're competitive coders. That's a different skill. That's why watching Olympians. This is like watching somebody down at the Sandlot. And I think it's more approachable. I want to encourage other people to do it. It's really fun to do it. I always enjoy Advent of Code every year. So thank you, Paul.
I do it in such a way so that I feel comfortable showing someone my code, so that I'm
Right.
not showing someone bad habits.
That's what I'm trying to do too, but I don't have enough habits to have even bad habits. But that's kind of the same idea. I don't want to do it wrong, or do it in a way that looks bad. And so that's why I like to comment and so forth. If people want to see the final code, I do post it on GitHub. Leo Laporte is my GitHub name. I will clean it up, add comments and so forth, some notes before I post it. What else? I'm sorry. We have raids turned off. Andrew, I don't even know what that is. So
Oh,
Good.
yeah. Come on.
I think that's from another Twitch. That's sending people from your Twitch channel over to another Twitch.
Yeah, I think when you
channel.
finish your stream, you're like, okay, who are we going to raid? And then all your
Right.
viewers get sent to there. Yeah.
Right. I'm sure there are people on Twitch who are doing some live coding right now. Actually, they're probably all done. Darren's back from his walk. Here, let's say hi, Darren. So Darren and Paul and Cyphase and anybody else who wants to, December 5th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, 0100 UTC on December 6th, we are going to do a summary of the first week of AOC, talk about, different parts of it, just have a conversation about it. This will be a Club Twit event. And maybe we'll do this every week. I wouldn't mind doing it every Thursday through the month of December, because all of us will be trying to solve these. Generally, what happens is these very good guys get way ahead of me, and I'm still solving in July, as you said. But it's a lot of fun. Paul does put his notes up on our forums at twit.community. There's an Advent of Code thread there, and you can go look at what Paul writes his code.
And you don't need to
puts
be
it
a
up there.
member to see it.
That's right. It's available to all. What else? I think that's everything. If you are interested in Advent of Code, it really is helpful to go to the subreddit, reddit.com/ s/ or r, whatever it is, /r/ advent of code. There's a solution thread for each day, but there's also a lot of memes and commentary, and it's often very helpful. If I get stuck,
sometimes there's even cool
things.
animations people make to show how
Yeah.
the code progresses through their input.
That's always fun. I don't think you could do anything with these yet, but somebody will do it. A lot of times there's sand falling, there's blocks falling, there's stuff
You
building
have
up. There's
the machine like
path.
processing through the string and like
Yeah.
cracking the ones that aren't valid and doing
It's
something.
it's so fun. It's really fun. So that's what's great about Advent of Code compared to all the other coding challenges. I think it's really a community. People really look forward to it, probably because it's just once a year and it's in real time and all that. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Good job. We did it. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Cyphase. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, everybody. We'll say goodnight. I will see you tomorrow for Mac Break Weekly and Security Now. And at the end of a long day, I might even do day 4. Ooh. I think I will. I'm having too much fun. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Stop
Take
now.
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.